There's an interesting smear campaign going on here in Australia, and it's been reported on mainstream Australian television news all across the country. I mean, we're talking Channel 9, the biggest TV news networks here in Australia. They've created this news story. And guys, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then I actually looked at some of the details and I went, hang on a minute, it doesn't quite sound right to me. There's two reasons, sort of like when someone photoshops a fake crash video and you look at it and you think, hang on a minute, that's been photoshopped. That's what I think is going on here. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. It's great to see you. Guys, some of our videos are I basically create them for our YouTube members. So the YouTube member only videos. I'll put a link to our members page and would be stoked if you could join as members because of course that helps support the channel. So what is going on here? Well, mainstream media news are saying that thousands of Tesla vehicles are sitting in an electric car graveyard, just rusting away. Literally, that's been reported in Australian news many times now over the last few days. Interesting here. The report here says, here's the main report, right? It says thousands of Teslas are piling up in what's been described as an auto graveyard amid plummeting sales across Australia, with motoring experts now worried the honeymoon is over for electric vehicles. Now, I should point out, electric vehicle sales in the month of May were one of the highest months ever, and they were significantly higher than what they were in May last year. Tesla was still first and second actually in EV sales for the month of May here in Australia. Anyway, the story goes on. 2,000 Teslas arrive at Port Melbourne every month, they claim. Now, here's the first big red flag. But sales slumped a massive 44% in April. And many of the vehicles have been pictured waiting to be moved on from the busy transport hub. US automotive giant Tesla has made multiple and significant price cuts to its fleet in a bid to compete with the growing Chinese EV market. Now, that would be true. It's like one of those stories, though, isn't it, where they mix falsehoods with truth. And these are the kind of stories that I think mislead people very easily. They're very confusing. It's a very smart trick. If you create an article and you combine it with, say, 80% truth, 20% fiction, and people, that's the kind of thing that they often fall for. Here's the next paragraph where this guy, Peter Anderson, you've got to question who's paying Peter Anderson. Peter Anderson, I'm calling you out, mate. Whoever you are, the Transport Association chief. Who's paying your wages? I think we know who it is. He said, all of a sudden, we've got a huge backlog of Teslas that aren't moving. They've just stopped moving, Victorian Transport Association Chief Executive Peter Anderson said. Teslas, apparently he knows this, Teslas usually come into the country pre-sold. These cars aren't. They're sitting here waiting for buyers. Tesla isn't the only company suffering. Sales of electric vehicles slumped 5% in April after more than 3 years of double and triple digit growth. People are starting to tighten their purse strings, said Paul Marrick, Car Expert founder. Now, first of all, Paul Marrick is not the founder of Car Expert. He works on the Car Expert and he works on the YouTube channel. And, he's been part of that business. He's not the main founder. I believe that's Alborz Farah. But anyway, all of that aside, as you can see, this article is a bunch of bullshit from the media here because, first of all, Peter Anderson does not work for Tesla. Tesla have not told him that that Tesla always pre-sells the cars they get in from China. They don't. Tesla doesn't work that way here in Australia. Tesla doesn't work on an order. Tesla's not Aston Martin. They aren't Rolls-Royce. They don't work on a system where someone places an order and then they'll make that custom in China. That's not how they operate. I think we know that. We know that Tesla doesn't operate that way. Tesla always does this, works in this matter. And first, that's one problem with this article. Another problem here, Tesla does not ship 2,000 EVs every single month. Doesn't do that like clockwork. Everyone who knows Tesla, even the most, people who know nothing about the automotive industry, even they know Tesla's deliveries worldwide and to Australia are cyclical. Tesla does not deliver 2,000 EVs every single month. Now, that is another false statement. And if Peter Anderson is making the claim that that's what Tesla does, he clearly has no idea what he's talking about. And don't get me wrong, Tesla could have vehicles waiting here for owners, for customers to buy them. Wouldn't be that different though to Ford or Toyota or Hyundai or anyone else having cars in their dealerships. I mean, this is part of the process, right? You bring cars into the country, then you sell them. If you actually look at Tesla's sales this year here in Australia, Tesla's sales here in Australia have been pretty good. And it's true that Tesla have reduced their sales prices. The Model Y now is very cheap here in Australia. So is the Model 3. Very, very affordable. They're actually just a tiny bit more expensive than what they cost in China. So they're the cheapest, or nearly the cheapest in the world here in Australia, which is amazing. But I think if you actually have a look at Tesla's sales, they're actually pretty good this year. They haven't gone down. And trying to cherry pick the month of April, saying that in April sales were down 5%, therefore the entire EV market is in a slowdown, Tesla has thousands of cars sitting in car graveyards, is pure sensationalism. It's purely just designed to damage demand. It's designed to make people think, oh, don't buy an EV because people are not doing it anymore. The herd mentality is what drives sales. It's very, very common. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people, herd mentality. Oh, they're all doing it. I'm going to do it as well. And if we start telling people no one's doing it, they're all don't go there. That's old news. That's yesterday's thing. No one's buying EVs anymore. Teslas aren't selling. Then what happens? Well, then what happens is Victoria's Transport Association, which Tesla are not a part of, well, then they profit because then the automakers that pay this transport association, they get sales instead of Tesla. So these hit pieces are simply hit pieces. They're completely manufactured. This whole story of Tesla's rotting Teslas, this is what they're saying here in Australia, rotting Teslas sitting in electric car graveyards. I mean, there's a few 2023 model Teslas left, but very, very few of them. There's a minuscule number of them. So whatever of these new EVs we have now, they've all come in this year. And as far as I know, Tesla sales are doing quite well here in Australia. There aren't any rotting Teslas. These cars, we don't know. Peter Anderson doesn't know whether or not any of these have been pre-sold or whether or not they haven't or whether or not they have. Tesla doesn't pre-sell every car they bring into the country before it comes into the country. It's just not the way they operate. So guys, maybe share with your friends. Just say to them, if they share this, if they write this stuff on Facebook, they're going to share these news stories on Facebook, on social media, Instagram, whatever it may be. Right underneath it to say, yeah, this is just bullshit. Don't believe everything you read. Thanks for watching.